The Consolidated Outland Pioneer is an upcoming capital ship in Star Citizen, the pinnacle of base building gameplay, badged up as a heavy construction ship. Naturally, the concept has got many players excited. After all, building bases is a staple of many popular games out there, and CitizenCon 2953, if you believe the hype, would suggest that this gameplay loop may not be quite so far away as you might think. I'm Forrester, and welcome to the Drydock, a series which delves deeper into the ships of Star Citizen. This video will explore the background behind the Pioneer both in and out of game, then take a look at some of the attributes and statistics of the ship before considering how that might all translate into gameplay. There are timestamps in the video description, although if you're interested in the Pioneer, you might prefer to watch this one all the way through. And whilst this channel usually focuses on what's currently in-game, necessarily this video will navigate the treacherous space that is speculation territory. Whilst every effort has been made to approach this video accurately, sometimes information is sparse and much is subject to change as time goes along, so please treat the content with a pinch of salt and not as a definitive promise as to what will happen. All of that said, let's dive into the background of the Pioneer. The Consolidated Outland Pioneer was first announced in October 2017 as part of CitizenCon 2947. The launch included a short commercial video, a longer discussion panel, as well as a store page with information about the Pioneer base building concept. Shortly after, in November 2017, there was a Q&A page on the Star Citizen website, and then it was radio silence on the Pioneer for a while. During CitizenCon 2953, there was more of an update on base building and the part that different ships play in that, including the unique nature of the Pioneer as the pinnacle of the base building experience. The Pioneer was announced in-game in Frankfurt in 2947 by Silas Kerner, who sought to revolutionize colonization with a new all-in-one settlement builder. The short announcement speech suggested that the Pioneer would herald in a new age of colonization. On announcement in 2017, the Pioneer was offered for sale for $850 or $750 of new money. That price hasn't yet changed since then, although the Pioneer only goes up for sale at limited times during the year and in limited quantity. The stated purpose for the Pioneer is as a heavy construction ship, but that may extend to being a bit of a mobile base. The idea is to load up everything you need to build a prefabricated base, and then head planetside to assemble and place the largest of buildings. Uniquely to the Pioneer, it's been suggested that it is the only ship capable of building the largest of structures. Based on current information, the Pioneer would have a total length of 200 meters, a total width or beam of around 125 meters, and a total height or depth of 30 meters. For context, that's very close in terms of length to an 890 jump currently in-game, but with a wider frame. The total mass of the Pioneer is set to be around 35,600 tons. By way of components, the only listings available are from the original concept many years ago, so some of the below may well be out of date, especially given the capital size of the ship. However, those listings suggest a large radar and 3 medium-sized computers. Power would be provided by 3 large-size power plants, with cooling provided by 2 large and 4 medium coolers, and defensively, the Pioneer would carry 6 large shield generators. Those specifications also list 2 large fuel intakes, 2 large hydrogen fuel tanks, and 2 large quantum fuel tanks. Both the quantum drive and jump drive are listed as large-sized. To propel the Pioneer, the specifications list 4 main thrusters, 8 retro thrusters, 8 VTOL thrusters for planetside operations, and 20 fixed maneuvering thrusters located around the ship to help it turn and translate. By way of armament, the specifications for the Pioneer list 6 weapons, potentially up to size 4, with size 3 installed by default. Additionally, the Pioneer looks set to include 2 manned turrets armed with a size 4 weapon and 2 remote turrets also armed with a size 4 weapon. These feel more like point defense type weapons rather than a primary armament. The crew specifications for the Pioneer note a minimum crew of 4 to a maximum crew of 8. It's a little early to know what realistic crew requirements might be for the Pioneer, other than a short comment from John Crew stating that it's a team effort doing this stuff, referring to base building. Clearly, the manned turrets will require a person to do the honours, but equally the Pioneer probably isn't a ship you would choose to take into combat, so time will tell how viable the ship is with different sizes of crew. So the Pioneer does look to include the usual habitation stuff, as well as life support for up to 8 crew. There's also a cargo bay listed at 600 SCU of storage, and to be fair, the dimensions of the bay would suggest that seems feasible. Additionally, there's a landing pad up top which supposedly doubles up as extra cargo storage too. But the primary function of the Pioneer is base building, and that's where the largest area of the ship comes into play. Amidships there's a manufacture area for actually crafting the various fabricated modules that would go down to place a base, and ahead of it is a very large assembly area, which puts those pieces together into a durable form to be placed on the surface. So the core gameplay loop for the Pioneer is base building, and to be fair, it looks to be the pinnacle of that loop. The only ship so far announced to be capable of building the largest of structures, it's clear that the Pioneer is likely to be of interest to those base builders out there. With development work supposedly starting on the base building gameplay in the next few months, perhaps it's something that more information will become available for soon. Perhaps another use case could be in fabrication, a similar concept to that seen on the basic fabricator on the Vulture, but expanded much more widely to include structure fabrication, but perhaps also tools, armour and weapons. Clearly that's highly speculative, but there is a dedicated manufacture area on board the Pioneer, originally stated to be for structure fabrication, which could potentially be put to different use. Given that the obvious gameplay for the Pioneer is base building, it makes sense that this would be the core of a group going planetside to develop some real estate. But such an operation could also involve other ships, for example, some protection to keep the area safe, as well as potentially some cargo ships to carry extra materials. The Q&A for the Pioneer notes that the ambition is that this ship would be able to process materials into fabricated buildings, including potentially materials generated through player refinery operations, for example aboard the Orion, and as such, a natural synergy might be to team up with some mining and refining ships, or some cargo ships with extra building materials stored. Regardless, the concept of the Pioneer as the pinnacle of base building gameplay, able to fabricate everything from the smallest to the largest of buildings, with potential multi-crew gameplay attached, is naturally something that is likely to excite a lot of players when it finally hits the verse. But at the risk of going on for too long, that'll pretty much wrap it up here for the Pioneer, and so it's over to you to share your thoughts in the video comments. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you might like to do that too, so that you can get the heads up for new videos on the channel, as well as assembling a prefabricated base on the like button if you like heavily narrated slideshows talking about fictional spaceships. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.